Kanye was looking for, I believe this was his assistant. His assistant was looking for someone to help him teach him shoot. So the plane lands, and then Kanye gets off the plane, and he has like this entourage of people. I never even thought about the fact that, like, does Kanye shoot? Does he like guns? Stuff like that. So they show up, we get to the gun range at TSA, and then, so at this point I start going down the safety brief. I'm like, all right, look, I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna explain to you so that everybody is safe. And at this point I'm like, all right, great. Now he's engaged with his ADD ass. I'm mid-sentence.
Oh, wow.
And he leaves. This episode of the Colion Noir podcast is brought to you by Vetter Holsters. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of the Colion Noir podcast. And today, we just have me. So, from time to time, what we'll end up doing is we're going to be doing some solo podcasting. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all figured out I like to hear myself talk quite a bit. And so I figured, what better way to hear myself talk than to hear myself talk to you wonderful people. No, but this is kind of going to be like, behind the wall kind of things, me talking about stuff that I normally don't talk about, sharing experiences, stories, and things of that nature. And like today, I'm going to tell you about the story when Kanye came out to shoot with me.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know about that story.
No, I actually honestly told myself I would never tell the story. Like, I would never bring it up. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe a part of it was me feeling some type of way, or just, I don't know. But, so Kanye, the way I got in touch with Kanye was actually through an ex-girlfriend. And so at the time, my ex, she and I happened to find ourselves in DC. I think I was there for like a Turning Point event. I was doing a speech at a Turning Point event, and she was there for a completely, totally opposite event, which is kind of hilarious because I was there for Turning Point event, which is like super right leaning, and then she was there for like something to do with CNN or something like that. She's a media figure. I'm not going to tell you who she is. None of your business. So we happened to find ourselves both in DC, and so we kind of we connected and hung out a little bit. And she was talking about that she had, we were on good terms, and she was talking about she had a friend who was kind of Kanye West's, I guess, assistant or something like that. And Kanye had been talking about, this was like during the time, this was like when Kanye was starting to show elements of his zaniness. And whether or not, whatever it comes from, I don't know. I don't know, don't care. But he was kind of doing his thing, bouncing all over the place. I think at the time he was in Paris. And so she had said to me that she wanted, that, like Kanye was looking for, I believe this was his assistant. His assistant was looking for someone to help him teach him shoot. And he was kind of wanting to get into guns and whatnot. I never even thought about the fact that, like, does Kanye shoot? Does he like guns? Stuff like that. I have a lot of celebrities who, I won't say a lot, but there are celebrities who I didn't think were into firearms, but are into firearms. And, Hollywood is that weird space where they kind of have to, keep that part of their life kind of secret. It sucks. I get it. I never take it personally, just because I understand. You would be amazed at the number of celebs who are really into firearms and can't really talk about it out loud, because then it would prevent them from doing what they do to make a living, which, like I said, sucks, but it is what it is. But when you do have some that do come out, it's pretty awesome when they come out and speak on it. That said, my thought process was, okay, Kanye. I'm like, I grew up listening to Kanye. I was a Kanye fan. It's funny how I use it in past tense. I guess we know where this is going. Are you a Kanye fan, Peter?
I am. His older stuff, like the newer stuff, some of them I liked, but then it just, I don't know.
Oh, you don't?
I don't. Yeah.
Can't you say that about every artist?
I mean, that is true. Like, you kind of fall in and out maybe, or something like that. But like Graduation, like those, like that. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I mean, no, he's definitely talented.
Yeah,
super fucking talented. He is.
The one with Jay-Z, like what was, I mean, just all that time period, like what was it, the 2000s? Early 2000s, middle 2000s, like
yeah, all dates run together for me.
Yeah, same here. But I mean, that time it was great. He was great, and he wasn't showing that crazy. Like he was kind of weird, but you're like, oh, he's an artist. He thinks a little different. He's whatever.
I think he was just always kind of he kind of came off as arrogant.
Yeah.
And then, but more and more, we kind of started realizing, he might be a little kind of zany. And I say zany just because I don't really know what it is about him that makes him the way he is. I can't tell if he's trolling. I can't tell if he's really crazy and he just doesn't take his meds. I don't know if there's a conspiracy out to make him seem crazy. I don't know. I don't care. But going back to story, so at this point, she was like, I can tell her, I think you would be a good fit, because I had taught her how to shoot, kind of a little bit. It was a kind of combination between me and Lynn. Lynn is the guy that owns the gun range with all those tires and stuff, and so
TDSA,
TDSA, and so she was like, I think you'd be a good person, for him to connect with, because I'd already connected with Killer Mike and a bunch of other people like that on the issue, and I was like, cool, let's do it. Right, Kanye. It's Kanye. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna pass up, teaching Kanye how to shoot. So, I'm not an instructor. I'll just put that out there. I'm not an instructor. I don't make it a business of teaching people how to shoot. That's not my thing, right? A lot of people meet me and they think, oh, you like do all the gun training and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I train, but I don't necessarily train people. Now, I have enough knowledge to train people who have no knowledge, right? I'm not going to teach you tactics. I'm not going to teach you certain skill sets. It's mainly going to be introductory, like basic fundamental aspects of shooting that I can teach people. Somebody who's new to shooting, I think I can do a decent job of teaching them how to do that. So to make the connections, I get the information from the assistant. The assistant, is like, yeah, Kanye's in Paris right now, and he's going to fly out in his private jet to come out and shoot with you. I was like, is it really that serious? But then again, it's Kanye. He's just this eccentric creature. So I'm like, I guess it makes sense for Kanye. But sure enough, he jumped on a jet, flew all the way to Dallas, Texas. And I met him at this private airport that I didn't even know existed. And I've been living in Dallas for who knows how long. And so all right. So I've got to give a quick shout out to Vetter Holsters. They're now sponsoring the podcast. I've been using their light tuck Kydex inside the waistband holster, and what I really like is how adjustable it is. You can tweak the ride height and cant to get it exactly how you want. Plus, they've got holsters for over 450 gun models in 75 different colors, so you can pretty much find whatever you need. But here's the thing that really sets them apart: their customer service. I've heard so many stories about how they've gone above and beyond to make sure you're happy with your holster, and with a lifetime warranty and a 30-day money-back guarantee, it's clear they stand behind their products. If you're in the market for a great holster, check them out at betterholsters.com. So the plane lands, and then Kanye gets off the plane, and he has like this entourage of people. There had to be, I'd say total, maybe like 10 people, maybe a little bit more. So he's got this entourage of people, which kind of didn't surprise me. It was a very eclectic array of people. Like, it wasn't like an entourage of like 30 beefy black dudes or some shit like that. It was like two girls looked like they were runway models. Then there was a couple of regular looking dudes, and there were kind of some zesty dudes in there. So it was interesting. It was an interesting array of people. It's like a mix of races, everything, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is about to happen here? And I'm like, okay, this is Kanye, so it is what it is. So at this point, I'm like, all right, we got about an hour drive between this airport and to get to the gun range. So, Kanye comes up, he comes up to me, I shake his hand, introduces him, and nothing. Like, he's just that typical, just melancholy look on his face. He was cool. Like, it wasn't like, but he was like, introduce himself. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you, Kanye. You're never really ever going to see me geek out over celebrity, even if on the inside I am geeking out. I pretty much put on a poker face. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, cool. We meet him. I'm like, hey, we're going to go to the range. We're going to go to this range about an hour away. I think they jumped in like a Sprinter van or something like that. And so then we drove for about an hour to this gun range. So we get to TDSA, and so I call Lynn, and I'm like, hey, Lynn knows I'm bringing Kanye, and Lynn is a trainer. That's what he does. But he's like, I'm going to take the back seat here because this is your thing, right? And then he's like, I'm just going to sit in the back. He's like, if you need some help or anything like that, it'd be good. I was perfectly okay. I was like, you know what? I can do this. It's not like Kanye is like an avid shooter, at least from my understanding and knowledge. So from that perspective, I'm like, all right, we just do the basics. That's all we'll do. We'll do the basics. So they show up, we get to the gun range at TSA, and then everybody comes out of the Sprinter van. We get there. So the first thing I want to do, I'm like, look, the last thing I need is Kanye West having a fucking accident on my watch when I'm trying to teach him how to shoot. And Kanye, he can come off a little, like I said, a little zany. So I'm like, all right, here's what we're not going to do. So I'm going to make sure that anytime I've gone to any training course, anytime I've done anything that has to do with like firearms and things like that, you always do the safety brief. Always the safety brief, especially when it's going to be people who are not familiar with guns, don't have a lot of gun experience. You do a safety brief, and usually the safety, the how extensive the safety brief is contingent on how new or how little information that the people who are going to be handling guns are and have. If it's people like who they shoot, this is their thing, you just do the 4 rules of gun safety. You say you either run a hot range or a cold range, and that's it. When you're dealing with people who are new, you really have to break it down. Like, you kind of have to explain certain things. And from my understanding, he doesn't know anything about guns. So I'm like, I'm going to have to start from the bottom and work my way up. Because I'm not just going to put a gun in his hand and then say, here, point and go shoot. I'm not doing that. Sorry. So at this point, we're at the range. So we're all kind of crowded inside of this little room, right? Which is really, I'm not going to lie to you, it was really funny to see, because it was just like this particular area. It's like a massive Connex box. It's not like, if you've been to the TDSA range, it looks like a scene from Deliverance, right? It looks like apocalyptic. And that's what makes it so cool. That's what gives it its character. And so you have all these tires everywhere, and then you have these moats and shit, and it's just like, and then the main office is a Connex box, and then you got dogs running all over the place because Lynn loves dogs. He saves dogs, which is pretty freaking awesome. But it was just interesting to see Kanye just kind of, and then these people who clearly just came from Paris. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're like, what the
fuck? They're just standing here in this space, in this like little shanty kind of Connex box office space or whatever. And so I'm like, there's a part of my brain that's kind of like, that seems kind of unreal. Like, my brain couldn't process it. And then like, here's Kanye, and I just remember wearing whatever oversized coat he was wearing or some shit. So at this point, I start going down the safety brief. I'm like, all right, look, I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna explain to you so that everybody is safe. So what I wanted to do was break down, start with the guns and understand the guns we were gonna shoot. So as I'm going through the guns, we were starting shooting with the Glock. I figured it was the easiest thing to do. And I thought about kind of going down to 22 and started off shooting with 22, but knowing his arrogant ass, he might have taken offense to that.
Yeah.
So I kind of, I was like, I guess we'll start with the 9mm Glock. If he wants to embarrass himself, he can embarrass himself, in terms of not being able to handle the recoil if he could or couldn't. So at this point, I'm like, okay. I'm going through the gun, and then I start talking about, so everyone there was super attentive. Like the especially like the 2 model chicks, like they were very, very attentive. They were asking questions and stuff like that. And the whole time, this was Kanye.
Which, for people can't see, he's on his phone right now.
This is Kanye. Whole time I'm doing the safety brief, this is Kanye. So I'm seeing this out of the side of my eye, but I'm just teaching the class, right? I'm just assuming this is a class of people at this point. So then he didn't perk up until I started talking about ammo. So when I started talking about ammo, I kind of wanted to describe the differences between jacketed hollow points and full metal jacket. And then once I started explaining that, he's kind of perked up a little bit and he started paying attention. And so he asked me a question or two, and I kind of described and explained to him the difference between hollow points and full metal jacket. And at this point, I'm like, all right, great. Now he's engaged with his ADD ass. So I'm like, all right, good. We're getting some feedback here, right? Because otherwise, I had a problem. I couldn't figure out how to read him. And then the problem is what I didn't want to happen is with me, if you're not engaging me in a way where if it's not a mutual exchange of engagement, I turn on my apathy button and I just don't care. And at that point, it's just pretty much, it's like, you might as well just call it a day, because I'm just not going to, it's a waste of my time. So he's finally asking questions, and I kind of started explaining to him, and he seemed really interested in it, like understanding it. I could see the gears turning in the back of his head. And then, so we did that, and then all of a sudden he leaves.
He just got up and just in middle of talking with you, or I'm
mid-sentence.
Oh, wow.
And he leaves. And so I'm like, when performers are on stage and they, something happens, they slip or they fall or something like that. And then they act like it didn't happen. They just continue on with the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what happened. Right. There was a brief second where I went, fuck. And then I was like, fuck it, just keep going.
Right.
Right. So now I'm teaching the rest of the people there. I don't know who any of these people are.
Right.
I don't. But they were giving me way more engagement than Kanye was. So I'm like, look, if they want to learn, let's teach them. Right. So, and I remember specifically, I was talking to the model chick. No, not just because she was the model chick. Shut up, Peter. But she may not even been a model, but she just had that look, that kind of stereotypical kind of model look. Mm-hmm. And pretty girl. So she's asking questions. You could tell this was new for her. This was kind of exciting and fun. And then I'm talking to her, and then everybody else is starting to get engaged too, and they're asking questions. And then the male assistant that he has, one of the Zesty boys, he leaves, right? And I don't mean zesty as a pejorative, but I mean he just had some zest to him. So, so
take that as you will.
Yeah, this is what it is. So he leaves. And so the whole time I'm teaching, I'm instructing, giving a safety brief. And I'm kind of annoyed because I'm like, he's going to come back in here. I'm going to have to start this all over again because he's not getting the safety brief. So in my head, I'm just kind of like, man, whatever. But what I'm not going to do is impart that energy onto the people who were genuinely interested in learning. So that's what I did. I continued to engage with them. Then when the guy leaves, the guy comes back in. He comes right up to me. He goes, I'm sorry, but something's come up and Ye has got to go. And then he turns to the group and he's like,
and that's for people leaves. Listening, that he signals a hand gesture.
Yes,
and then
literally. He's
waves them.
Everybody leaves. It was on cue, on command. Everybody leaves. And so they walk out.
And you're just standing there.
Yeah. I'm standing here looking like a dumbass. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? So I'm looking at Lynn. Lynn's looking at me. It's like, Lynn don't give a fuck about Kanye.
Lynn's laughing at you.
Yeah. So Lynn's like, and I'm like, and part of me goes, I'm like, okay, at any moment, Kanye West is going to come in here and say, hey, sorry, something's come up. The guy flew from fucking Paris, right? He flew from Paris. So I'm like, clearly he didn't fly all the way from fucking Paris to come and just leave.
So you thought.
Clearly, right? This fucker never came back inside. Yeah. Not a word. Yeah. Nothing. So in my brain, I'm like, I'm not insulted because I think I'm somebody. I'm insulted because I'm like, you wasted my time. This is a complete waste of time. So I'm like, and it was insulting. It just was rude as fuck. So I'm like, okay.
If anybody had done that, not just because he's a celebrity, it's the fact of you just walk out and don't come back and don't say anything.
Nothing.
When you're doing this out of your own.
I didn't ask for nothing. I wasn't getting paid.
Right.
None of it. It was like, hey, Kanye wants to do this. I'm like, oh. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to bullshit you. Off the strength of the fact that he was Kanye was why I was more willing to do it.
Of course.
I'm not going to bullshit you on that. But nonetheless, it's still his time is valuable, so is mine.
But also it's the rudeness of it. It's if he had come back and said, hey man, I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, but something's come up. Yeah. I got even if he had come back and said this, hey man, I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it.
You'd at least respect that.
Yeah. I would have easily respected it. Right. Easily. I'm like, cool. All right. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But no, he got his ass in the Sprinter van and he left.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? So then when he leaves, I call his assistant, the female assistant. And I'm like, yeah, your boy just left. And she's like, what do you mean he just left? I was like, I was mid-sentence giving a safety brief. He was here for like maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then he just left. And I could hear her. She was mortified. She was like, oh no. And I'm like, but the weird thing is in her voice, there was something about it that let me feel like he does this.
Oh yeah. Well,
like this
you already know that.
He does this. And she's like apologizing profusely. And then I'm like, look, don't worry about it. She even offered to pay. She was like, hey, we'll pay you for your time. So I'll give him that, right? She was like, we'll pay you for your time. Just name your amount. I was like, no, it's not about the payment. It's about the principle, right? Even though now I should have been.
Maybe we should hear back.
So let me tell you how I'm full of shit. So I said, no, it's not about the payment. It's the principle. No, it had nothing to do with principle. I was just in my feelings.
Yeah,
so I was just like, fuck your money.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, but still, there was still an aspect of the principle component to it as well, right?
But again, also it's her offering this stuff. Again, it's not him.
It wasn't Kanye,
right?
Yeah. True, exactly. So it just even had less meaning at that point.
Yeah, she's just offering to pay out of not even her own pocket.
She's in damage control.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm like, okay, fuck it. It is what it is. That part of my day is gone. I think I might have even been filming that day. Like, I think we were going to try to film that day or something like that.
I wasn't around then.
No, you weren't. No, because I told him, I was like, don't worry. I was like, don't worry. There will be no cameras. Because I was under the impression it was supposed to be a private thing.
Yeah.
Right? It was just kind of like he wants to shoot. Just like if he wants to take pictures and shit like that, cool. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we're going to turn this into a full video.
Right.
So then at this point, I go home. And the funny thing is, I remember when I called my mom and I was like, "Hey, mom," I was like,
"You called your mom?"
No. This is before this. Yeah,
gotcha.
When I was telling her, I was like, "Hey, I'm about to, apparently I'm gonna, Kanye wants me to train him how to shoot," and she was like, "Okay," and I was like, "I know, it's kind of a big deal. It's Kanye," and she was like, "So," she's like, "You're you." Moms. It's like moms. She's like, it's like you're you. Of course he's gonna want to come shoot with you.
Yeah.
Like, why are you surprised? I was like, okay, mom, thanks for the ego stroke, right?
Yeah.
But then,
and now we also understand a little bit more why you are how you are.
Yeah, basically. It's funny because like Kanye was an only child raised by a single parent mother. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
And I think there's something you heard the Kanye of the gun world. Like,
but except I'm not rude,
right? And so then that would make me the assistant. Funny.
Oh god, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Zesty Pete.
Hey, wait, I'm not zesty. Hold on.
You could be the zesty. You could be the zesty guy, or you could be the female. Pick one.
I'll get back to you on
that. Yeah,
exactly. But no, okay. So, how long was the safety brief? Was that? Do you think that's played a factor?
Okay. So let's go back through
because
there's more to the story.
Oh, okay.
There's more. There's a lot more. So the day, and we'll come back to that part of the question. So we get back. So now I get back home. I'm chilling, and I'm on social media, and I'm scrolling through my feed on Instagram, and what the fuck do I see?
Oh,
this motherfucker Kanye West went to another. I think he went to Defender. He went to a gun range here in Dallas.
Yep.
Got his photo op, took pictures with a bunch of people, and that was it. There was no video of him shooting. Nothing. So, coming back to what you asked me before, why do I think this happened? I have a couple of theories, right? So, my first theory was Kim, because he was still with Kim at the time.
And this is Kim
Kardashian. Yeah. I had done several videos blasting Kim on some anti-gun shit, because she had done some commercials with some like anti-gun groups and stuff like that, and I'd done videos kind of ripping into her, not disrespecting her, Not disrespecting her, but more so just my
calling her out.
The typical,
not blasting her, but like blasting her. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that could probably be it. I'm thinking he was on his phone and he was like, "Hey, Kim, I'm here with this guy named Colion Noir, about to film and do some shooting." And then he's like, and then she's like, "I know that guy. That guy made that video about me and this and that." Now that's assuming she even knows who the hell I am, right? That's assuming she even saw the video, So that there's a little bit of kind of like grandiosity in that belief set. So I don't know how much of that plays into part, or maybe she was like, he got a phone call from his handler and was like, "No, Kanye, you can't do that. You can't be seen with the gun." But then he went and did the thing at the gun range. Yeah. But there was no video of him actually shooting or anything like that. Then what else did I think?
But like, so I wonder why he came to Dallas. Like, was there something else going on? And so he's like, "Yo, hey, I know you're out in Dallas. Like, I want to."
No, I don't think he planned to go to the other place. I think he went to the other place after he left here. And for whatever reason, whatever made him leave where I was, he decided, "Hey, I'm here. I'm going to go and do this." Yeah. Now, the thing is with Kanye, based on his actions and the things that he's doing now, here's what I think might have happened. He's big on being provocative. He's big on being capturing attention at all times, right? And so he's gonna do stuff. He's gonna troll stuff. All of that. He's gonna say crazy shit to get attention because attention is his currency. So what I think happened was at the time there was a lot of gun talk. There was a lot of talk, in the space, social media wise, about guns and things like that. I can't remember what was going on exactly at the time, but there was a lot of that talk going on. And I also had just released a series. This was back when I was still doing the things I was doing with the NRA, released a series about Chicago. And I had interviewed one of his friends that knew him growing up in that series. And so I'm thinking maybe there was some connection there. So he figured, and there was all this kind of talk and sentiment about firearms and who should own them, who can't own them, stuff like that. And then at the same time, Kanye is kind of like in this kind of like, people are starting to question his sanity a little bit. And I think what ended up happening was he thought, okay, I'm really going to get people going. I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot. Yeah. Right. And he really didn't, I don't think he really cared to learn how to shoot. I think he was trying to get the photo op. Yeah. Did he have a camera crew or anything, or? I wouldn't call it a crew, but I mean, I think
just people they have their phones or they have whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think he wanted to come out. He didn't want to come out and actually learn. And so I think once I started getting into the safety brief, I was boring him. Yeah. And so he got bored and was like, "Man, this is not what I came here to do. I didn't come here to learn all this shit. I came here to pick up a gun and shoot." Yep. I even had one of my friends who was like, "You handled it wrong." He's like, "With people like that, they just want to get in there and they just want to shoot." And I understand that, but nah. Yeah. Like, you're gonna get the safety brief, bro. Like I'm gonna do the safety brief because I'm not gonna have people looking at me like Kanye shoots himself on accident while training with Colion Noir.
Or at the very least, you gave the brief so that they know, and that way you're covering your ass also. Like, yes, I do. I've seen it before. I've seen it like with quote unquote celebrities or whatever that, they want to just get to the cool part. Yes. And so the safety brief part, I do see sometimes eyes glaze over or whatnot. Yeah,
absolutely.
But it also is one of those things like, hey, yeah, but like you said, you still need to know these things just so even if you kind of heard it, you heard it. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much. So from that perspective, I'm like, yeah, he just got bored. He's like, I'm going to get my microwave fix. Yeah. I'm going to go find somewhere. I'm going to find a gun range, go to that gun range. I'm pretty sure he got in the van. He's like, "Hey, are there any... Right. Like, somebody Google some gun ranges around here so I can go just show up." He's Kanye. He's going to be able to just show up and people are going to be like, "Oh my God, it's Kanye." Right. Here, let's see. Try to Google Kanye gun range.
So he just bounced out and you never heard from him after that?
No. Never heard from him again.
Ever.
Nope. Let me see. The funny thing is, I don't think he posted the actual pictures. I think there were people who were there who took pictures with him, and he posted it. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. But so that's
weird.
That's weird because if you're looking for a photo op, then he's
a fucking weird guy.
But
look, I'm a weird guy.
I mean, yes.
So
very true.
I get it, but I can't even find the pictures of him.
Yeah,
I remember seeing him. Let's see, because I think he might have went to Defender Outdoors.
I don't know.
Let me see.
But it is also weird that he went there and then there's no, like, he just went and didn't take his own pictures of the
that
quote unquote photo op. You know what I mean? Like,
hold on, wait. I think I found it.
Yeah.
I think I found it. Yep. Yeah. See, it wasn't planned. Yeah. It says here. I'll send it to you. I'll send you the.
Right. Okay.
So yeah. So I find this thing, and so it's at Defender. It's at Defender Outdoors, and so it says so Kanye West and friends just casually dropped in this afternoon for a little fun. Welcome to Fort Worth and Defenders, guys. Hope you enjoyed your time here.
Mm-hmm. And I even liked that picture, actually. That's funny.
Oh, you're a fucking traitor.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
2018. Was I around 2018?
You're a fucking traitor.
I didn't know you then, did I?
I don't think so.
Because I
definitely would have had you come.
Oh yeah, I would have. Yeah. Bro, I would have been there.
No, you weren't with me around then.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, this is him. This is him at Defenders.
Crazy.
So he goes there, he does that. Where was I going with this? So yeah, I now that I see that picture, I don't know why. I don't know what his goal was. I really don't. I don't know if, like I said, either he got bored, someone told him to get the hell away from me because I'm too toxic. Because I had a lot of enemies in that space. You know, I'm pretty sure I don't have a lot of, there's people in Hollywood who don't like me a lot.
Yeah.
But then again, there's no image of him with a firearm. There's no images of video of him shooting. None of it. So,
does he have a felony or anything? Like, is he able to touch a gun?
I don't think he would go to a gun range if he did.
I mean,
that's Kanye don't have no felonies.
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe not, but
Kanye West is not a felon. No, he doesn't. No.
Yeah. Okay.
He's good. So that's my Kanye West story.
And so you're still in your feelings about it?
I'm not as in my feelings about it anymore as I used. Like, clearly now I'm a little more impassioned about it because I'm talking about it up front, because I never really talked about it before. So I'm kind of reopening old wounds.
Oh. So, and you're calling me zesty. All right.
Shut the fuck up.
No, but that's crazy that he just, he just showed up, bounced out, probably because he got bored or whatever. He's like, I just want to shoot. But I don't know. Like, I didn't realize the Kim stuff. So that makes me think
I've done, let me see if I
if it is one of those oh, this is the dude. Okay, well, yeah, no, we're gonna.
And you know what's funny? If that's the case, I don't think I'm in my feelings as much as I hate not knowing.
Yeah, but again, they may not know who you are, and then he's just like, "Oh, who's this black guy that shoots? I'll go take a picture with him, or shoot some cool guns with him." Because even back then, you were shooting cool guns. I'm sure. You were. That's how I found you. You're in the space, so. And then it just
first thing pops up. Colion Noir blasts juvenile Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, but part of this is also, do we think that they know who you are from this?
That's assuming, right?
Yeah, exactly. They get so much stuff all the time.
Yeah, it's like to assume,
on their level, who knows? So it could all be coincidence. Also,
probably.
It could just.
But yeah, no, I'm not. It is what it is. I'm not really in my feelings about it anymore.
Do you listen to any of his music?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
His new stuff is cool. I'm kind of in my future way right now, so it's kind of like,
you've always been future.
Not
ever since I've known you, you've been playing that future.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, no, he's still talented. I still buy some of his clothing and shoes and shit.
Overpriced stuff.
Huh?
Overpriced, but yeah.
Of course.
It's all in the name. I wanted.
No. His Yeezy, like some of these shoes were phenomenal. Like some of the most comfortable things I've ever put on.
Quality and all that stuff.
Quality was amazing.
Yeah, my people back in the sweatshops make them pretty well. I was wanting to, like, I had this thought of, like, what if just like food has the ingredients of it, what if clothing and other goods had the cost breakdown of what goes into making this, so you would know the exact cost of it, and then you would also know the markup. And I would be okay paying up markup on certain items, like if it's like, you know, a Kanye thing that I really like and I'm just paying for the name, but I understand that. I wonder how that would do.
I mean, I think that's already happened.
Is it? I mean, because like there's so much stuff
because of the tariff situation. You get all these
now. Yes.
Yeah. So they're up there saying, "Oh, this is how much it really costs to make this."
Right. Because now they're going to put that on us, but it's like.
But it really, honestly, just it's like that's called capitalism. Like,
yeah.
Shit is only worth what people are willing to pay for it, and if people are willing to pay these exorbitant marked up prices.
No, and I get that, but it's almost also like they try to put it on different things and whatever, where it's like, okay, no, everything's being white labeled right now, like, you know what I mean, clothing, beauty products, like The Rock has his own hairline, like they're not making it, he's just slapping his name on something. So yeah. What's the actual cost? I don't know. I feel like if it was out there more,
but then again, like status is a currency.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then depending what space you're in, when you're talking about alcohol and liquor, I mean, where are people mainly consuming those things? In clubs and bars. So where status reigns supreme.
No, right? I mean, bottle service is crazy and stuff, but it's just like, but at least if it's like on a label out there, I mean, it may not affect anything, but other people may be like, why am I paying?
Well, here's the thing though. I mean, when Kanye West had that falling out with Adidas tried to sell some of the remaining stuff without his brand on there. It didn't go so well.
Yeah, no, that's true.
There's something to be said about the power behind a brand.
Oh, I understand. That's why I'm just saying, like, I'd be willing to pay more but I just, like, I guess want to know how much, because I mean, obviously greed and everything, like the businesses are going to try to market as much as they can.
But again, the market
yes
dictates all. So
yeah.
As long as there are people willing to buy it, you can I can come out with a piece of paper and say it's worth $1 million,
and they've done that stuff.
But there's a reason why people aren't willing to pay for that.
So it's true.
But so that was my Kanye West story.
So Kanye, get back to us and let us know what happened, because he can't let it end, and he loses sleep over it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's a very intense part of me that really wants to know, like, what happened? Like, what? Like,
you're the girl that got. It's not you, it's me, and you just want that closure. That's what's going.
What happened, Kanye? Was it me? Was it something I did? Was it something I said? Nah, but I think at the end of the day, I wish him the best. It is what it is. Shit happens. That. Most of my situations don't happen like that. Like, you know, when we first linked up with Michael B. Jordan.
That'll be another story.
Yeah, that'll be another video. But yeah, that was my going shooting, but not actually shooting with Kanye.